morning, hello, and welcome to the Cozy Caravan yoga sessions with me this morning. So this is week 3 of our current situation, or it is for us anyway, and I was really struck this morning of sitting with these feelings of stuckness, and how I'm feeling quite triggered by, and I'm sure many of us are, feeling quite triggered by this situation that we find ourselves in, this situation of stuckness. So I was experiencing stuckness in my body, and so I felt, well, what are ways that I can help get that energy moving, encourage the flow? And so we have an opportunity that we can see ourselves in a retreat setting, and it's an opportunity to really come inwards. We might be experiencing that sense of confinement and restriction from the outside, and so that can also bring up its own, either the retreat or the confinement, it can bring up its own waves of sensation, feeling, emotion, thought patterns. It's all the patterns, it's all the old stuff that gets generally kind of pushed down or tucked away in our everyday lives. We don't have time to sit with it. Now there's all this time and space for all those hidden parts of ourselves to come to the fore, and it can be very easy. I've fallen into this same pit of attaching it into a story. Oh, it's because of this, this and this. So these practices of movement and of breath help me to get back to that place of its energy is stuck. Something is stuck in my body. There's a discomfort or disquiet. There's a sense of it being too much, or it may be that energy feels very low. You're feeling very tired. And so this practice, particularly this morning, is quite a quiet practice. There'll be some standing, some sitting, slowly moving, and to start to really to wake ourselves up to this experience of flow moving through us. So we'll begin, I think, by something very simple, which is the rebounding, the shaking. And this is a great way to get the fluid flow. It's like an agitation in all the cells in the body. It gets the fluid flowing in the fascia, and it gets the synovial fluid working through the joints. And it's very easy. You can start anywhere. You can start anywhere in the body. You can be inside, you can be outside. You don't need any special equipment. So you're going to see as I move, the camera is also moving, so amplifying this sense of movement. And it's moving wherever you feel it's good to move. So go with the flow, go where it feels easy to start with. Just make sure that the feet are nicely planted. You're feeling that good earth connection coming in to the extremities of the face, the head, the hands, and even though it's not shaking, but I'm starting to wake up my connection with my feet on the earth. So I'm lifting my heels, pressing the balls of my toes into the ground, sense of walking on the spot, opening my palms, coming into, like, actually inviting myself to come into my edges. So my experience when I get into that overwhelm or that stuckness is I start to feel quite contracted in and around here, and I come away from my edges. So I'm just bringing my attention. What's it like? It might feel like, oh, it's really uncomfortable. Maybe as you start to breathe and move, then emotion might start to come, and that's fine. Whatever movement arises, whether that's the movement of breath, the movement of wind, the movement of tears, the movement of sound. And the great thing is that because we're doing it in the privacy of our own space, then hopefully any of those inhibitions that we might feel in class, then we're a bit freer. So I know it's not always easy to get away and do your practice, so we work with what space and what time we have. And I've also really been enjoying every morning, if I do nothing else, I'm doing the 4 thumps. So I sent the link to the Donna Eden energy medicine routine. Very, very simple. So here we have stomach. So this is the grounding, helping to ground us. The end point being the second toe. So if you want to connect with that sense of moving down into the earth, then you can just tap the starting and the end points. You tap as firmly, a little 3 fingers here. You tap as firmly or as lightly as feels good for you. Bring your awareness down into your second toe. You might find that the mind starts to quieten or the breath changes. A little meditation to just drop into yourself, and as well as helping to wake up the energy system. And then the second one we can do is the kidneys. So it's collarbones, breastbone. I love this point. Makes you want to go So the end point for that is solar plexus point, if you like, on your feet. And that's the point through which we're sucking up the energy from the earth. We're opening to receive, like a tree planting down its roots. We're open to receive energy up from the earth. So it might be you just want to wake up the end point there. And then once you're planted your lovely grounded feet into the earth, and what are you able to receive as support? What would you like to receive as support up from the earth? And then we have a simple one. This is the good one all round. So breastbone thymus stimulates immune system, good for processing emotional and physical shock. So there's a bit of that around currently. Give your chest a little thump. Make a sound if that feels good for you. And then we come to nourishing. So the spleen, where we digest everything that comes into our field. So food, emotion, environmental pollution, anything that we're hot topic of is electromagnetic pollution. That's a hot topic at the moment. So tapping the spleen, helping to digest anything that comes into our personal field. And then just tuning in. And as we tune in, we can also plug in. So we're going to plug into the central channel. Lots of different names for it in different Eastern and Western traditions, but how we locate it is the navel, and we come just underneath the navel. We do that 3 fingers. So plugging in underneath the navel, plugging in to the third eye. You can do the sitting or standing. So we're plugging into our source energy, our central energy channel. Everything that I am, everything that I have the potential to be, Sushumna Nadi, governing vessel, Sensumana. And as we plug in, we can not only plugging into this source, this energy moving through us, but also plugging ourselves into the earth. going down with your attention, down with your roots, as far as you need to feel connected. And check in with yourself. Check in, does the breath feel different now? Now we've moved, now we've connected, now we've dropped in. Does the mind feel different? Are there sensations in your physical body any different? So let's take the feet. I'm not going to be able to do this yet. So my feet are, I would probably take them a little bit wider, but they're, actually I'm going to go sideways on. Feels more comfortable. So I'm expanding into a wider stance and just letting the weight shift from side to side, feeling how the connection comes off my feet and toes on one side, but down into my feet and toes on the other side. It comes off and up one leg and then passes, that force passes through the pelvis and then goes down into the other leg. The only thing that I need to remember is that my knee tracks over my second and third toe, and that my knee doesn't go past the front of the toes. Just a very simple, kind of loose, organic movement of bringing the arms up and letting the weight of the tail and the roots go down. So a sense of expanding and reaching up. I'm slightly restricted, so you make the shape of your arms to fit your space, and then keeping that sense of expansion up here, dropping down through the center of the body. So feel yourself dropping down through a line either side of the navel, and then sending that line down and out through your inner thighs and down through your calves and into your feet, the heels, the balls of the big toe, the balls of the little toe. We're straightening up to come out, and then as we exhale, getting a sense of dropping in. Great. So it's just to wake up the connection through the legs, and then I'm going to cross over through the body, so helping to organize our system. I'm taking my foot behind me, touching with my opposite hand. So if that feels, wow, that's really confusing or physically not possible, then you could just come to a regular marching and crossing over. So we're helping to organize the system, the balance between the left and the right side of the body, creating a lovely organizing figure of 8 pattern through the system. So we do this by walking. Just going for a walk can help to organize. You might have noticed this, feeling discombobulated, feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the situation. You go for a walk, feel a lot better. So let's say you haven't got time to go for a walk, you haven't got the space to go for a walk, making sure we're crossed over in the day, simple actions, and it's a nice way to open up, quite a playful way to open up the front of the body too. And then let's give the spine a little bit of a massage. So we're planting the feet slightly wider than hip width again, and then I'm letting the heel come off the ground, so I'm shining a light as if out through my navel, and my toe is remaining planted but the heel is coming away from the ground, and I'm letting the arms float free. And as the arms float free, they're wrapping around my torso. And as I'm breathing into the rotation, I'm inviting the breath to come into a different part of my body. I'm inviting the in-breath to work a little more strongly as I'm breathing into this squeezing movement. It's got to find new spaces, and then as I'm exhaling, I'm letting the exhalation squeeze the breath out. So attention to breath as we do this really amplifies that internal massage that we're giving the organ body, and that lovely massage, squeezing, releasing that we're providing for the whole of the spinal column. And sweeping off. Taking a moment to check in. So if that requires a little bit of movement or coming back to stillness. So as we do this, we can feel free to sit. If you want to sit and do that, it doesn't make any difference. As long as your feet are connected into the earth. And we're going to consciously invite the breath to travel in our mind's eye from our roots. Could be the root of the spine, the roots through the feet, from the roots from the earth. Parallel breaths through the system. So in your mind's eye, breath travels up to the crown. There's a sense of inhaling towards the top of your body. And then as you exhale, feeling that movement from the crown down through the center of your spinal column, down through your core, down through your central channel, all the way back to your roots. So I'm making the movement with my hand of this parallel breath. Inhaling up, exhaling down. And I work a lot with parallel breath. It's a way we can also, if we have a situation or a feeling, something going on with ourselves that we're finding quite difficult, then we can place that outside of our system and breathe parallel breaths, breathe organizing breaths through that thought pattern, that feeling, that situation. It may be with a family member, it may be a situation around work or lack of work, whatever it is that feels confused or stuck or sticky. Breathing, if it's difficult, put it outside of yourself. Breathe the organizing breath through and then come back to integrating in your own body. It might just be the physical sensation and the enjoyment of bringing that organising breath through your own system. Come to sitting and sit on a chair where, tilt the camera, sit on a chair where you can have your thighs parallel to the ground. So conveniently, this is exactly the right height for me. You want your feet underneath your knees. So we're not having the feet behind, the feet are right under the knees. My sitting bones are nicely connected back and I'm not leaning. And it'll help you if you're finding that difficult, if you feel that you're ending up with your spine a little bit rounded, then you can take a rolled up towel or maybe a little block. I just thought I should do a equipment list, really, what you need before the class. So I might write that down, actually, an equipment list. So that's changed things for me in terms of sitting, just having that little bit of lift. So here I'm feeling the connection with my feet into the earth. You could do your parallel breaths from here. And I'm going to move into a little bit of an extension and then a flexion. So the extension is coming from around about the pubic bone. Palms can root onto the thighs. And then I'm feeling this extension coming up the sides of my neck. I'm not just lifting my chin and closing here. I'm feeling this lift here, almost as if someone's taken my skull, lifted it for me away from my seat. And my face is opening, it's soft and opening into the space above me. So I'm not doing that because that's closing the back. You might be able to get a little bit further. And then I'm softening the front of the body. And as I'm softening the front of the body, I'm just letting my roots go down at the back, keeping me anchored, and then letting everything softly fall forward. So as I come forward, I'm feeling a really good connection with my sitting bones back here into the seat, and I'm feeling a really clear connection with the outside of my thighs down into the outside of my calves, outer ankles, and into the ball of the little toe joint. And similarly, good connection from the big toe joint up through inner ankles, inner calves, inner thighs, into the inner groin. So the legs aren't being lazy, the legs are very active. And I'm keeping, as I bring my hands down, it helps to keep that frame, stop the legs from splaying out. So I'm really keeping that container of alignment, ankles, knees, hip alignment. I've got the thighs here to support my chest and my belly. And working with the breath, so I'm exhaling as I come forward. And at the end of the exhalation, my navel is gently drawn in. The in-breath comes in as a feeling of supporting myself up from my navel. Might feeling a little bit congested, blow your nose, or really opening the nostrils. So we'll do that 3 more times. There's my tissues. Rather than breathing, sucking the breath in through the front of the nostrils, see how it is to open the nostrils to feel as if the breath is moving in right to the very back of the nostrils. It's like an unfurling. Imagine if we've got lots of that at the moment on the buds on the trees. There's an unfurling, and then there's a softening coming back into this soft front body. Let the weight, as you come back, the chin remains tucked in, and simply letting the weight pour out through one ear, and then the opposite arm, I'm doing that, but in that direction. So I'm gently taking my palm open towards the earth, and I'm feeling this whole sleeve start to open up. If this feels strong enough, stay with this. If you want to amplify it, just gently let the palm open out, the fingers open out. And pouring. Do a couple of times on both sides. Then back to center. And now I'm going to show you just some very simple ways of opening up the side of the body. So the side body, doing the flexion and the extension. And often the side body doesn't get much of a look in day-to-day activities. So side body, all that hidden part of the way we can breathe into our side body. So if we're looking for new spaces to move into, Feels quite topical, but that sense of where can we find the hidden space. You know, there's a sense of we're restricted, if you like, in our physical space, or restricted in our physical movements. So where can we find the space within ourselves? And this is the challenge. And how can we sit with that experience in our yoga practice, and the quality with which we bring to our movements, and the attention which we bring to our movements. Hopefully, then that can translate out into the wider context of our day-to-day life. So just to show you, I'm focusing on this space here from the sitting bone up through the side of the waist, so between the hip and the lower rib, and all the way through the side of the ribs. So that's obviously opening and amplifying breath, which is a great way to really get into giving the lungs room to breathe. And I'm going to have my hand either on my thigh, on my belly, to help me focus on that gathering back into navel, or if we're coming down onto one side, you can gently place your palm onto the side of your seat, but we're not propping from here. We're keeping the elbow, the fingers turned out, and the elbow dropping into the side of the body. So if I was coming up this way, I'd be mindful not to just prop. So that's really important. Ideally, I'm looking to support myself from my core, but sometimes we want to take it a little bit further, or we need to get a little bit of extra support. Tune into what you need. So I'll go away to start with. I'm going to bring the breath as the arm comes up. Having that feeling of reaching into the space beyond you, and then keeping that sense of reach, dropping all the way back down into your roots. So reconnect through your roots, reconnect into the navel, and then bring the hand down. So we'll stay with one side, doesn't matter right or left, but staying with that one side. The in-breath is going to lift, it's going to create buoyancy, expansion, and then coming back into your roots again. Find your way back into your roots. Find your way back into your navel on the exhalation. And then the hand slowly releases down. Tuning into any difference that you feel in the breath, in the nostrils. In the front, in the side, maybe in the back of the body. All the while keeping this connection, big toe joint, little toe joint, center of your heel, inner thigh, outer thigh alignment. Take the arm up again. This time I'm going to reach over. So you might be slightly forward or directly over to the side. Reaching, and then reconnecting with the roots, reconnecting with the navel. On the end of the exhalation, your navel is going to naturally gather back in to the muscles are going to naturally gather back in, navel towards the front of the spinal column. So reaching out, feeling not only the opening here, but also the opening on the underside of the arm. And then that connection back down into your rib cage, into your belly, into your roots. Come out, or you can take another one if that feels good for you. So tuning in, noticing the difference between our left and our right side. Noticing the difference is as an important part as the actual doing of the movement, because this is when the system registers that change has occurred and is more able to assimilate and integrate it. So this time I'm going to take the hand off, and I'm going to come out more at a horizontal. So I'm lifting up through my elbow, and really having to work into that connection with my navel and my seat to stop myself from squashing the other side. So coming in, finding the flow. The end of the exhalation, there's an engagement through my abdomen, and on the inhalation, with that engagement, I can just float back up and palm down. Have a sense of dropping, opening that space again, connecting through the arm. Coming back to a place just of quiet peacefulness. If anything got stirred up in doing that movement, physical sensation, breath, thought, emotion, coming back to a quiet place within oneself. Actually, this is an opportunity to show you the mudra that I wanted to introduce from the class today. So my lovely friend Liz Chapman shared this, and we realised we have the same book because she took a photograph. It's the Mushti mudra, and the affirmation is, I am quiet and serene in every situation. So the fingers tuck in. The fingers tuck in, and the thumb is around the ring finger. Fingers tuck in, the thumb is around the ring finger. So we can use this at any point. Bringing mudra in. Mudra is a way of connecting a different circuitry within the body, and so that can have an effect on the mental patterns, on the on the mental vibration, the emotional vibration, and see how it fits with you, see how it works with you. And if you bring in the affirmation at the same time, I am quiet and serene in every situation. I'm quiet and serene in every situation. Let's undo the palms, flat down, and we'll come and do that series, different movements on the other side. So first movement was straight up, second movement was diagonally across, and the third movement was the elbow lifts and the arm comes over like this, so it's a little bit deeper into the side of the ribs. Let yourself reach, let yourself find that space, and then on the exhalation, reconnect with your roots, reconnect with the center. Softening the arm down. So going in your own rhythm, I'm enjoying having a breath in between. And when I really quieten down, I can feel myself settle and soften. It helps having the sun suddenly appear there on my back. But reminding myself I'm not in a hurry to get through the exercises, to get through the protocol. So for you, if you're at home and you feel, oh, I want to pause here, I want to hang out, and you find that sweet spot of engagement, then it's wonderful. You can take that opportunity to really just sink in and be with yourself. And then we take the arm up and over again, so this time diagonally. As I reach out, I can feel that strong connection down through my feet. I'm lifting a little bit through my bottom. And then I'm reconnecting through my sitting bones, reconnecting through my navel, keeping that space. Finding your flow with the movement. Your rhythm might look very different to mine. I'm noticing that my breathing pattern has changed. Nothing right, nothing wrong. It's just a different experience. Stay with the same side. So we're lifting up through the elbow and keeping, I have to reconnect through my roots, keeping that connection. I'm going to have a breath here to really feel into all the different possibilities. If that challenges you, then come to the slightly easier version, come out. You'll see how I through forward I have to really settle my rib cage back. This hand helps me. You can look up in towards your armpit. You can look the way that you're going or forward. The end of the exhalation, I'm staying engaged. Coming down. So we will do some forward bending at the end of the sequence. If you feel you need to forward bend, so counterbalancing, then do what your body feels it's asking of you. So tune in. Your body is your teacher. You are your own toolkit. We'll come, before we come to the other side, check into the sensations across the different quadrants of the lungs. You've got the right at the top here on the collarbone, around here, just around the heart, underneath the nipple, around the side, maybe the back of the lungs. What's it like through the nostrils? What's your connection like through your seat or your feet on that side? And then we'll come to the other side. So we did the straight up, we're going to come across. Nice and slow. So everything has been a little bit slow down. There's not so many places to go or to be. Not so much things to do, although I appreciate there's a lot of, I'm feeling incredibly busy. As we slow down the movement, you maybe start to wake up to, oh, there's that sensation here I'd not noticed, or that connection there I'd not noticed. Or actually I've gone a bit too far to support myself, or I need that other hand there to support myself. And then this time the elbow comes up and I'm coming all the way over. I'm to focus quite clearly on my sitting bone and feet connection. What does this movement, what does this shape offer you? Can you really, it's like eating or drinking. What are you getting? What can you get from this? What can you really nurture yourself? How can you nourish and get what you need from this movement? Sense of expanding on the in-breath and reconnecting back to your core, to your center, to your roots on the out-breath. It's to feel good, feeling of feeling good, feeling really comfortable being here in your body. Let's go forward. Taking my finger pads underneath the soles of my feet, if that's comfortable. So my fingertips are pointed towards my heels, my toes are nestling into the heels of my hands. I'm just feeling that nice connection of hands and feet. Bringing the breath all the way through the back of the body. Keep your chin nicely tucked in so you don't feel any pressure of your neck hanging. Gathering into the navel and then slowly drawing the hands. You come back up. So here, coming around. If you want to stand, you can do this. You can do this twist standing if you feel like you want to stand. I'm going to stay seated. So we're coming up, bringing the arms up, taking the elbows down. So a kind of cactus pose. And then from my connection with my roots, I'm letting myself turn. I'm feeling the space open here. I'm feeling the space open on the side I'm turning away from, mostly at the back. And then I'm going to let my hands come down, and I'm going to place my hands on my body where I would like, on my torso, where I would feel, I like a little bit of support or attention. So there's the hands are nourishing, they're supporting, they're holding. You can come in and out. I'm enjoying staying with the breath. Feel that you're turning back on your central axes. So it's digesting, it's swallowing, if you like, the fruits of that particular position or that movement before you take another mouthful. And the arms are floating up, so you're feeling that space. Maybe there's a lightness in the arms now. And then the elbows drop to create space across the front and the back of the chest. Connected through feet and sitting bones, and I'm turning out of my belly. Hips they're not joining in. And then take your hands on your torso wherever you feel you want the comfort, the touch, the support. Connecting with that softness inside, that space inside. Back. find it interesting. I've just used that analogy of swallowing and digesting, and it's almost like you're letting that movement hit your stomach. Am I full? You know, do I want to do any more? Do I want to process and digest any more? And I just a little kind of thought came, oh, I wonder what it's like when I'm eating, because my family say I eat quite quickly, and obviously slow is better. And, you know, do we always properly finish and digest that mouthful before we go, oh, yum, I'm on to the next thing? So it can be a good thing to notice. What's that like for you when you're eating or just digesting bits of information? You know, are you fast mover? Are you on to the next thing? Or are you someone who really likes to take one mouthful at a time? And our yoga practice is an opportunity to really take one mouthful at a time. What is that enough for me? Do I want to go on? Where do I want to go next? Do I want a bit of this or a bit of that? So always learning, always insights. Now I'm going to take my feet wider than my hips, so I'm in a wide leg stance, and that's going to change my experience of where is my center. It's going to change my experience of my breath. It might feel like, oh, I need to move a little bit because I've sort of been sitting for a while. So do what you need to do. Make sure that your outer edges of your feet are parallel though, and that the weight is evenly spread through your heels, big toe joints, little toe joints. And from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into my pelvic bowl, and I'm going to start to sweep, if you like, the weight of my pelvic bowl, the weight of my pubic bone back. And as my pubic bone goes back and up towards my sacrum is going to lift, sitting bones lifting away from the heels. So there's this nice sense of, rather than just leaning forward, I'm feeling like I've caught this center of gravity, and I'm going to just shift it up, floating up here and opening back here. And then from here, your knees could be a little bit soft. Don't lock the knees. So block, book, blanket, whatever you've got handy. You bring your seat around. This is the advantage of the caravan. Bring your chair around. Sorry, everyone. Bring your chair around. So seat of the chair or the back of the chair. We're going to go forward. So it's a wide leg standing forward bend, and we're going to open into the palms as if in a hard half dog. So yes, you could do this up against the wall, but I wanted to get that experience of really coming into that forward bend of the front and the back body opening simultaneously and connecting through the hands and the feet. So we'll start off with the movement through the pelvis. And then the head, if you can, support your head so that you can really tuck your chin in. The front of your throat is soft. See if I can tuck myself in here. And I'm enjoying that connection. Breastbone back to pubic bone, down through the inner groin into the inner edges of the arches of the feet. And now I'm feeling into my palms, so I'm consciously reaching into the palms of my hands. Maybe they're up on the edge of your seat, or you could do this up against the wall to feel that connection. I want to feel that connection right the way through the armpits, back into my hips, and down into my feet. So the same quality of expanding out into the peripheries and then returning back to center. Could be returning to the insertion point here, returning to where the arms meet the rib cage. It could be returning into the center of the torso. It could be returning into the center of the pelvis. Gauging the abdomen at the end of the exhalation, then we're going to softly bend the knees and come out. digesting, swallowing, settling. So from here, the last pose that we're going to do is a very easy wide leg standing pose. One of the warriors' important thing to remember is when you softly bend your knee, check that your knee is tracking over your second, third toe. Make sure that your back foot, you're not on a tightrope. If you're wide hipped, you're going to want to make space for your hips. So feel like this is a really, get into your warrior stance. This is your wide leg, like, yes, I can do this. Yes, I am strong enough to encompass the challenges of the day, the challenges of the coming weeks, months. We're in unprecedented times, and this calls for us to bring all of our tools out of our toolbox and use them wherever possible. So I'm going to use the tool of the mudra, the Mushti mudra, and I'm quiet and serene in every situation. So my fingers are closing into my fist. The thumb is on the third, the ring finger. So if that works for you, then great. Otherwise, just have open palms. Your palms can be face down. Feeling into that space that we've opened through the side body. So we're light and open out through the side body. I'm coming into, actually it's interesting, I like that mudra, but it does not feeling right here. I want to let my fingertips come out, so I'm actually just going to connect into the chin mudra. So that's the universal consciousness, which is it? One is, I think the thumb is individual consciousness and this is universal, or it's the other way around. But anyway, you're connecting your consciousness, personal consciousness, with universal consciousness with this mudra. So I'm liking that better. And we can still use that affirmation, I'm quiet and serene in every situation. If there's one that's coming up for you, if you've got a mudra, I can do this, whatever it is, you're meeting your task for the day with an affirmation. I am present with my jobs for the day. I'm breathing with my whatever it is for the day. So make it relevant for you. We're going to bring the hands back into the belly, to the lower abdomen, for women to the womb space, and turning the feet in. So this is our second chakra, is our seat of survival, our seat of creativity. So you're needing to be very creative at this time. It's time of change and of everything's thrown out the window. We're in a completely new situations with how to work and communicate with family, and to find a rhythm in a very different kind of external context of still wanting to find an authentic rhythm for ourselves and feel that we do have agency within these external restrictions. So this is important in our yoga practice. Yes, I'm suggesting this and that, but find agency for yourself. Find the place that, no, this is good for me. And if you're doing something completely different, my children are about to burst in. If you do something completely different, then feel good about finding your own way and your own power. But it has to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, change your position. And then coming back. And I feel like I want to do this. I actually feel like I want to do a bit of this. I think partly I want to do this because I want to open up here. So do the movement that you feel like, oh, that's good for me. Actually, I want to do a bit of this. So letting the movement flow through you, whatever it is. So Coming back into your center. We're from here. It's nice to plug in again. So if you want to stay standing, stay and plug in again. I'm going to come down to kneeling, and I'm going to take you through a very simple Om chant using the focus on the breath that we did in the recordings that I sent you last week, the audio recordings. And for those who are joining on YouTube, then the breath comes in 3 parts. So it's the R is in the lower part of the belly, the Oo sound in the mid part of the lungs, the sound in the upper part of the lungs, and then we roll that into the R, Oo, the Om sound, the sound of the everything, the sound of the universe. I'm going to come slightly tilty on so you can see. So working with the sound, then coming into sitting, lying down in relaxation. And we'll just have a few moments quiet. Obviously you can carry on after the recording is finished. So first we connect with the sound, and then we can set a little bit of an intention with the sound. So we work with the sound separately. Let your musculature support that movement of the breath out there. Let the breath wobble and waver and peter out the end. Feel how you can become more relaxed up here the more you start to engage down here. Same with the other movements. So very soft in the jaw and throat. Use your diaphragm, use your muscles of your abdomen. Ooh sound, middle part. Ooh. Sound. So actually use a mudra that helps to bring the breath through the whole of the lungs. Thumb in, fingers wrapped, don't know what it's called, little finger turns in towards the solar plexus, knuckles sync together. So the first Om sound, you can use this to start with. Obviously take it away if it feels better to do this or this or this, then have a gesture. That mudra is a gesture that feels authentic and meaningful to you. First sound, the Om, is for yourself, for your own healing. Feel the resonance go through all the cells in your body. The second Om we can take out to our community of yogis, yoginis. So all around the world, somebody somewhere is chanting on, somebody somewhere is doing their meditation, somebody somewhere is plugged into the source connection within themselves. So trust in that, relax in that, and let's send that Om out to all those other, across time and space, all those other, I say yogis and yoginis, it's anyone who's connecting with the practice of being present here and now and being connected to our environment, connected to the everything. It doesn't matter what form or shape that takes. So here we are doing our yoga practice. And then the third Om, we're going to send it out into our community. If there's any place, any person, any situation that you feel would benefit from some healing, some loving attention, then send that Om out there. So 3 Oms together, and then we'll come into stillness and relaxation. First for ourselves. then for our community of seekers. Into a place where you feel the healing is needed most. Relaxing into your Shavasana, getting comfortable in your seat for a few minutes of stillness together. So even though we're watching this on the screen and watching this, after the event after the time that I posted, know that our intention to be that quality of presence and of awareness has the possibility of transcending our perceived restrictions of time, of place, of space. We're all practicing sitting here together, sharing this moment of stillness and of quiet and of connection. Breathing in and breathing out. Awareness relaxation, awareness, relaxation. Breathing in, breathing out. So if you stay in relaxation as long as you want, if you're ready to come out, you can move your hands and your feet, slowly rolling onto your side, slowly sitting up. So it's I actually feel quite emotional. So even though this hasn't actually gone out into the world yet, I felt the support, I felt the presence of you all joining in, participating with me, and I felt touched by that. So thank you for joining me. Namaste.